Okay, day 93, version 1, Braverman, Haiti, and me. Planning this trip to Haiti. I know Braverman starts teaching on Friday, so I don't know if he's going to be able to come down to Haiti or not, but I'm still planning on going. I don't want to tip off exactly when I'm going to be there because I don't want to be kidnapped the first day. But if you've watched the series, this is really a matter of Hillary using, and George Bush. I'm not trying to say Hillary or George Bush is one or is better than the other, but using an outside mercenary force like Osprey Global, then bringing in a team like Team Rubicon to do the mop up, and then step 3 is bringing in this Dying Corp, which is really into some nasty stuff. So I'll talk about using populations for vaccination testing, and I'll talk about offering people eternal life with blood transfusions and maybe even heart transplants. So what I was trying to say about Bill Swing, and I don't want to try to be misinterpreted, when you have a large group of Contras, or you want to call them not Sandinistas, but you train a group in a place like this, close to the border where you could cut off a country. So here's North Haiti, this is Central Haiti, this is South. You want to train a group right here where there's a pinch point, like a funnel point, to invade. Okay, so that's Napoleon 101 or Caesar 101. What you do is this is a covert action, so you're training these people in gangs of, let's say, gangs of 8 or 10, and it's a blood gang. If one person leaves the gang, the other gang members have to kill the guy. So you're in for life once you're in. But this is exactly what happened in Congo. It's a split Congo. It's exactly what happened. It's going to happen in the other direction in Sudan. It's Niger. It's Nigeria. You just go down the line of all the insurgencies this is how you topple a country. And like I said, if you're a CIA agent with, let's say, Eshelman here is a CIA agent plopped into Haiti or plopped into the Dominican Republic, you have $10,000 and you have to take over the country in 10 years. One of the first things you do is take very poor people. You train them to be a kidnapping gang, and this is Argentina in the 80s, and Chile in 1973. It's just this repeating story. Again, CIA manual, and you teach them to do kidnapping. And you only need one agent in Port-au-Prince down here, or over here, to just say, that's the guy who needs to be kidnapped. I've seen his bank account. I've seen how much money, I've seen where his kids go to school, etc. That's the guy. And then there's these hand signals, or now it's cell phones. Now we can outfit the group with cell phones. This is where Digicel is going to come in. Now I have 7 by 24, 360 days a year tracking of my whole insurgency force, and I can send them code words now saying, okay, whatever their code words are for now's the time to kidnap the guy as he's walking to his car. Usually it's at night when somebody's walking to their car from working late, and then the car's taken one direction, the guy's taken in the other direction. Nobody sees anything. And this has happened. Haiti's the kidnapping capital of the world before the earthquake, okay? But before an election is especially when you want to start doing these kidnappings, because you want to drain the opposition of their money and their middle class support. What you want is the strong man to be put in, and this Moise is going to be kind of like that guy. You want that guy to be put in because law and order. This goes back to Rome, create a controversy right before the election. So Bill Swing is that guy. He is in charge of migrations, and that's what they do. They're bringing in insurgents. Now they bring in these 150,000 people that are trained over here, these Haitians that are trained over here under the auspices of this reckless deportation. No, those are your insurgents. What you're going to do is do kidnappings. There was kidnappings before, but they really shot up before the election. So about 3 months before the election, you want to take out the opposition. You want to take out the middle class that's supporting the opposition. Now, it still didn't work. Moise only got 6% in the exit poll, but I'll show how later cell phones can be used to create an alternate reality, even in that situation. Like I said before, Kagame is a great example. He was in Uganda with Idi Amin learning these techniques. You're going to find him in Somalia, you're going to find him in South Sudan, you're going to find him in the Congo, splitting the Congo. It's all about this. It's all about the ore. And you're going to find everywhere DynCorp is this forced labor. manual labor. It's no mechanization, so you can't hear it, see it from the sky, see smoke plumes or anything. It's all just hand-to-hand labor, and this is what they've got going in the north of Haiti. And you're going to find a guy like Lucas Lundin always behind the scenes. If you trace it back enough, you're always going to find Lucas Lundin. You're going to find Frank Justra. You're going to find Chiguri. Chiguri is going to be more oil, but you're always going to find Lundin and Justra at the end of the kind of the end of the rainbow here. So I've got my Planeteer system. This is my tracking system of all my insurgents now that are coming into Haiti. Let's just say this is Haiti, but the same thing is going to be true for the United States with La Raza and other groups, but La Raza mainly. But I've got my satellite. I know where they are from their cell phones, but I've got the people that I'm targeting. I've got them dusted. So whether they have a cell phone or not, I know where they are. If they have a cell phone, great, because that data feeds right into Planeteer. So let's just say I'm going to call them terrorists, these political leaders in Haiti that I want to kill, and I'm going to call my team that of Haitian exiles or whatever you want to call them, insurgents or Contras or whatever. I'm going to say they're in blue. Okay, so I'm going to use the cell phone tower. If my targets have cell phones, I've already matched that, and that's easy. And then I'm going to just basically wait for them to leave work late at night, and then we'll extort money from, say, look, hey, $40,000, or else you never see your dad again, and then they always pay it. And so that's how these gangs end up getting more and more money. You don't want too many kidnappings, because then there'll be like it'll unify the opposition that this is obviously coming from like a Bill Swing. It's a government thing. You want it kind of like random, all over here, random. Has no rhyme or reason, and so forth. Everybody thinks, oh, it's just rampant crime that's going on. These are always state sponsored. It's never, people don't naturally form gangs to do kidnapping. Believe it or not, they don't. It has to be trained. So anyway, once you dust here and you have your earthquake, you're going to have a whole bunch of centers for medical centers where people are being triaged. Now, I don't want to give the wrong impression. I'm not saying that this is Team Rubicon, and these guys were Marine snipers, and this guy was CIA, and there's a team of about 12 people that go to Haiti. I'm not saying they went after the earthquake. And this is a strong David Petraeus connection, and shot people just at random and did night raids and did kidnappings. No, what I'm saying is snipers create an automatic perimeter. It's the easiest and cheapest way to create a perimeter. Instead of flying in, 50 Marines and encircling a triage center, a medical triage center, if you put two of these guys in on a rooftop, and you shoot the first person that comes walking down the street that starts getting in your business, believe me, no one else will come around. They'll see the first person go down, and there won't be any more messing. Meanwhile, the medical people are triaging, and they're looking at whether this is a good guy or a bad guy. They've been dusted. You can tell if this is a good guy or this is a bad guy. If it's a bad guy that hasn't died, they go off to Mirabalais. The helicopter gets loaded for the good direction. For the bad guys, those guys are going to go off to the glue factory. That's what I'm talking about. This operation was. This is a combination of snipers for force protection or area denial or whatever you want to call it, and then medical people to figure out who the bad guys are for the organ harvest. That's what I was saying. Now, I don't know. I don't have enough information about whether they probably gave medical stuff to the good guys and left stuff for the people that left it in the medical center. But the triage people are going to say, oh, this one has to go, this one has to go, this one has to go. They're going to load up the helicopter, and they're going to do a night flight to Mirabalais. Mirabalais, by the way, is on a hill. It's where you would put a triaging center because it's easily defended by a small group of people. But this is what is happening up on top of that hill in field hospitals. This is before the hospital is built. And I'll go one further, and I'll say this is the white helmets. The DynCorp is the white helmets in Syria, but it's going to be BMP and Minista in Haiti. But I'll go one further. They like to actually build the hospital right where the blood was spilled. I'll bet that the blood of the people of the initial triages, the bad guy triages, is where the hospital was built, on top of that place where the slicing and dicing occurred. So, and this is also going to be a place where you're going to do DynCorp's going to do the trafficking. Now, these Marines, they're doing their job. They're taking those people up there. And they don't really know what happens after that. That's what I'm saying about compartmentalization. They don't know that this is what's happening. They see pictures later on, and they put two and two together years later or a year later, and that's where the suicides come in. They realize now that they're a part of this thing, this continuous process with DynCorp, and that's why you have the suicides. So I wanted to make that clear because I think that they never tell the military guys the reason for what they're doing. They just tell them to do it, and they do it. So, so to recap, Bill Swing is going to bring in all the insurgents. We're going to do a lot of kidnappings here we're going to do kidnappings before the election. Haiti's actually had 3 coups, or 4 coups, 1 military coup in 2004, and then 3 economic coups where they've thrown out the democratically elected person, 3 times now. So those have all been insurgents. The insurgents have been there since way before even 2004, but they really stepped it up after the coup. And then they swung in an additional 150,000 right here at this kind of precipice point of the Dominican Republic to swing this election. So the key is they need to ratify Parliament, which is going to happen on I think Parliament was suspended, I believe, and then now they're trying to reinstate Parliament on the 7th of February, I believe. So time is kind of running out here. And you'll find there's human rights advocates like Azili Danto that have written about this extensively, and they just, you would think the Congressional Black Caucus would pick this up. She's an extremely well-spoken person. She speaks perfect English, perfect French. Harvard, I can't remember where she went to law school in the United States, maybe Columbia, Harvard, I can't remember. But here's this person in the wilderness saying this is exactly what happened. Everything I know about Haiti, it has been confirmed. Everything I'm saying here has been confirmed by Azili Danto. Now, she might not know about some of the covert actions that I've been describing, but I'm just going on the pattern of the CIA through, over 100 different operations that I've looked at. So, and again, all the investments up here, and if there's nothing going on, why is there a cover for the gold mining route? Take the cover off. Let's see what's happening at the gold mine. Let's let photographers come in here and photograph. If it's a great humanitarian effort, Braverman ought to come down and lead the photographers, and we'll see what's going on. But what's happening here is forced mining of the guys. Some of the guys here that get brought to Mirabile get better, and they get sent off to the mine. Some of the guys here get harvested that are too far gone. They say, well, it's a rationalization. All these are rationalizations. Oh, well, he's about ready to die anyway. Let's make him an organ donor. Here, a check. And then they put the pen in his hand and they check. So there's going to be this little, little act of, oh, yeah, he was an organ donor. He signed it off. So anyway, and I'll just show how Digicel is kind of used like CNN. CNN is created by the CIA. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble, but it was for a national, to send a worldwide message out all at once to all the countries in the world at once. That's the idea. Digicel is going to be the CNN because a lot of people don't have television, electricity in Haiti. So people get their news via Digicel. Now, if you have a candidate like Moise, who gets 6% of the vote, and you want to say he had 90% of the vote, well, the guy who owns Digicel, or the Haiti install that Dennis O'Brien put in there, is a guy named Boute, like Boute. And he's the best friends with Moise. They are in the drug business together, for crying out loud. For Moise's plantation has a airstrip on it where they're doing it's Mina Airport all over again. So he sends out a message saying, Moise gets 90% of the vote. And then what you have is CNN in the U.S. say, with 6% exit polls, it's just ridiculous to say somebody got 90% of the vote. Then you have CNN rubber stamp it and say, whatever the news service is you want to say, says that Moise wins in Haiti. And then that word travels around the world through the CNN network, and it's impossible to unhook that, impression that this Moise won. the election by a landslide. Okay, so this is the same thing they used to do when Frank Luce was running the information side of the CIA. They would write so you'd get some reporter like me or whoever to write a little story. Then AP, you'd put it out on the AP wire. And then AP, then they would get like 10 writers to quote, oh, it's an AP story. It gives it instant credibility. It's an AP story. And then it goes out on the wire. The CNN's just a replacement for the AP wire. AP wire would go all over the world. It's impossible to undo that impression once AP has created that impression or once CNN has created that impression. But this guy is a fraud. This Moise is a drug dealer. He's a money launderer. I mean, I'm going to say it right now. And Boot is in it with him. And this is a fraud. Digicel in itself is a fraud, using USAID money to buy people cell phones to do this micro loan sharking. So anyway, it's all coming back. This is where it's all coming back to the United States. Sorry, I'll make sure I get it in the frame. This is Pug Winokur. These women, read Kathy O'Brien, or there's countless of these women, Jessica Crisp, where they're saying, I don't understand how men, could gang rape me. I don't understand how policemen could do that. Pug Winokur owns 30 or manages 30 different federal agencies, one of them being U.S. Bureau of Prisons. And he's injecting the same way that Bill Swing is bringing in these insurgents. Pug Winokur is bringing in, through JTTF, into our police forces, these kind of like enforcer guys that have criminal histories. They've already committed rape, so there's no problem. They have no moral compunction about raping a beautiful young woman. And you think they're police, but they're these night kind of prowlers. The same thing is happening in Haiti. And they're taught how to torture, they're taught how to, do all this stuff, organ harvest, etc. Now, I don't know. There are a few kind of potter's fields that have been found in Chicago and New Jersey. Those are the two places I suspect for organ harvesting. But if you can get them in Haiti and you can get them on ice, get the hearts on ice, you got 6 hours, I think. Why bother to do it in the United States and create a bunch of blowback from that? So I think, the international airport, I think, solves that problem. And if that wasn't true, then why this marketing, why this organ marketing, and why all this macabre organ stuff? You've got this whole group of people taking photos, of cutting the heart out. This is a way of communicating to your customers. I can get you a heart, or I can get you a little kid. So, and I'm not saying Sean Penn and Nemkova aren't good people. I think they're compartmentalized as well. I think they think they're doing the right thing. They just don't understand what happens at 3 a.m. in these operations. If this wasn't happening, then how are these people getting hearts at the age of 83? They would, in a cardiac meeting of cardiac surgeons, they'd never give a heart to an 83-year-old, or however old she was. I don't know exactly how old Pam was in this case, but that would never happen. So, and again, I didn't name my company Rape, Pillage, and Plunder. So I think I'm going to leave it there for today. Again, rip the Band-Aid off. 650,000 emails. Just publish the metadata for starters, because we want to know. The American people belong to the American people. It's a violation of the Federal Records Act, these 19 Gmail accounts, okay? So first of all, we're not going to stop trying to get these emails, okay? If Israel, China, and Russia have them, we should at least know what they have. We should at least know the metadata to make informed decisions in our elections. So at least metadata. And otherwise, you look like you're totally stonewalling and you're totally bought off. And this is McCabe at FBI. He's the one behind the whole JTTF. He's been running it for 20 years. Okay, that's it for this morning.